You know, the most frustrating part about a business is constantly working on things that either broke, or processes or projects that once worked, but now they no longer. So now you need to go in and you need to fix them once again. Oh my God. Imagine a business relationship in which you are actually constantly working on the business instead of constantly working in the business. What does this look like? How does it happen? And what do you need to do in order to be able to be in a position in which you can operate this way? Now, how can I help you not only work less, but be more productive and frankly, just advance your business a little bit faster? Really quick, who am I and do I even have any qualifications to speak on this topic? If you watched any of my YouTube videos before I decided to migrate into like this new, educational sit-down style content when I was still uploading vlogs, you would know that I am a 23-year-old millionaire. I ended up making my first $1 million when I was 18. Yes, I was still in high school. I made all this money from e-commerce, and then I ended up migrating into digital products and info, and then got into stock trading, vape shops, and all this like crap. I did a bunch of businesses. Some of the businesses that I had didn't require any systems at all. On the other hand, some did, and some needed it a lot. Through all of this experience, I've learned how to implement systems into any business, even if you just don't need systems inside of it, just to extract you out of the business as fast as possible. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be moving into our first point of discussion. So there are 3 ways that I have found to just be the most effective when it comes to building systems within your business. And before we go into those systems, I need you to grab a pen and paper. Okay, I don't have one around me, otherwise I'd grab one. And I need you to simply jot down every single thing that you do inside of your business day to day. Okay? Because the framework that we're about to discuss is going to be cross-referencing every single one of these tasks. Not all tasks are ones that need to be delegated or systemized. It has everything to do with the formula that we're going to discuss here in a moment. Now, your list is going to look a little something like, I check my emails. I pay for tools that don't auto-subscribe because they just don't have auto-renew. I do client checkup, which is like just messaging your clients or doing your clients' busy work. And then, I do payroll, and then I respond to DM and inquiries, and then I manage team communications. Whatever it may be, I need you to jot these down. Now, the next thing I need you to do is identify exactly what your hourly rate is. This is how much you are paid per hour. I need you to simply take the amount in profit that you made last month and divide it by the hours that you worked. So let's say last month you made about $2,000 and worked about 5 hours a day on your business every single day. You're going to take $2,000 divided by 150, and that's going to give you your hourly rate, which would be around $13.30. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start marking our tasks by these 3 categories. 1, delegate. 2, maintenance, and 3, $2,000 tasks. And these $2,000 tasks are actually going to be your monthly income until your income increases past $10,000 a month. Then it's okay to do tasks that are going to generate you $10,000. But really quick, we need to hop into Notion so I can kind of break this down for you and show you exactly what it is that we're going to be doing. So I brought you guys into like this little Notion database. I prefer to keep everything inside of Notion because it's just more organized and structured. And one of the things that we're going to do here is I'm going to show you kind of how to, 1, jot down all of the task items that you need to get done, but then 2, how to identify who or how this task is going to get done. Okay. Now, we give ourselves 2 different single select items on this Notion database. One of them is an actionable, and your actionable is going to be between delegating, maintenance, or $2,000 task. This is going to be the action that you are going to take on this task, okay? Are you going to delegate it? Delegating just simply means having something or somebody else do this task for you. For an example, if your parents tell you to mow the lawn and you go out and you mow the lawn, they delegated you to that task, okay? Because they were supposed to do it. Now, let's say you decide, I don't want to mow the lawn, so you pay your friends $50 to come and mow the lawn. You've now delegated that task to them. Now, on the contrary, if you are given a task to scrape a ton of data and put all of this data into spreadsheets, and you open up a tool called make.com and you plug it into spreadsheets and you scrape all of the data using an automation, you would have delegated it to a system or software or tool. Now, a maintenance task is doing a task that you've already done before. Okay, how I kind of operate is when I'm given a task the first thing that I do is learn how to do the task so then I can quickly teach somebody else to do the task. Does that make sense? A maintenance task is simply doing stuff within your business that is just maintenance work. Let me give you an example. If you hire a new client, okay, and through the new client, you go through and you set up everything that they need. I don't know, the Facebook ads and whatnot. And you learn how to do it and you get really good at it. Then you sign a new client and then you go through and you do all that same stuff again. That's maintenance work. You have done that before. This is work that's constantly just upkeep work. Okay. Or let's say client communications. If a client is reaching out to you and, you're answering questions and then they reach out to you the next day and, you're answering their questions, that's maintenance work. This is a red zone. You do not want to be doing maintenance work ever. Okay. You never want to be doing maintenance work. The only time you want to do maintenance work is when you're learning how to do something so that you can then go and fast track the understanding for somebody else to do it. Okay, now a $2,000 task, considering we gave you the example we had used was you make $2,000 a month. And the reason why we have a $2,000 task is because the only tasks that we want to do, remember, we don't want to do maintenance tasks. The only tasks we actually want to do are $2,000 tasks that can actually make us a possibility of $2,000. If I already signed the client and I need to consistently just communicate with her, that's not going to make me any more money. All right. I don't want to do that. But signing another client that can make me another $2,000 is something that I would want to do. All right. Are you starting to understand? I will only do a task that has the possibility of making me what my monthly income is. Now, this caps out for me anyway at around $10,000 tasks. It's really difficult for me to find $250,000 tasks. It is stuff that we do work on, but there are subsets of tasks that are inside of a $250,000 task in order to, actually achieve like the goal. Otherwise, it just ends up being like this ridiculous, imagine giving yourself only $250,000 tasks. You have to do things inside of it to get to that point, if that makes sense. So we do end up capping this out at around $10,000 tasks are the only tasks that you should be doing. Now, the next part here we have is systems. Systems are what are going to help you achieve this goal, which I'm actually going to add yourself to this, yourself. Now, this right here is based off this actionable is who's going to get this done, what mechanism is going to get this completed. Are virtual assistants going to get this completed, such as Fiverr or your teams? Is any software and tools going to be implemented to help you achieve this? Are you going to have a SOP built, which, like I said, or which maybe I haven't said, but one of the things that's important is we don't really do SOPs in the traditional way anymore. When we first kind of got introduced to SOPs, one of the biggest things that we would focus on is making these very perfectly ornate, structured SOPs that, the team could follow step by step. There's two problems with this. One, as soon as your project no longer works, all of the time and effort that you put into this SOP has now been wasted. If you spend 10 hours building out this perfect SOP and then next week your operation doesn't work, your entire SOP is in the trash and you wasted all your time doing that. Now, one thing I like to do is simply have communication calls. I am so against meetings throughout the week. But Mondays, I will allow people to meet with me. And on Mondays, I will send them Loom videos or we'll have some kind of meetings in which they can have a recorded version of whatever it is that I need them to do. I can sit here and I can structure out, all these individual tasks that I need, or I can simply tell them on a Loom video, which will take me 5 to 10 minutes, opposed to sitting there and trying to write it all down. I'm just simply a faster talker than I am a writer. And when you record these things, they have the ability to watch over them. And it's to the point where Loom has its own AI transcript inside of it that it builds the SOPs out for you. It's a lot easier to just focus on building the system like a recording software. Now, actually integrating this into an actual system, there are tools like Fireflies or Phantom. And as soon as you have a meeting or your team has a meeting, your Phantom or your Fireflies.ai will automatically join your meeting. And through that, it will automatically start recording whether you are there or not, which means if you miss a meeting, Fireflies is still going to join and it's going to record the meeting, which gives you the ability to rewatch the meeting. It gives the ability for everybody involved to rewatch the meeting, take notes, and understand exactly what it is that they need to get done. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to actually start categorizing all these tasks here. Okay. So if you wake up in the morning and you need to check your emails, we're going to take a look at the actionable here. And we're also going to look at the system in which this could be done. I personally, if you've ever read 4-Hour Workweek, you know that checking your emails or your emails in general are the biggest waste of time. I personally love checking my emails. I use a tool called Superhuman. And I think that's a thing. I think that's kind of the problem is like everybody likes checking their emails because it's like this, form of, productive procrastination or whatever. But I really do enjoy checking my emails because I like being involved with whoever's emailing me. But this is something realistically that can be very much delegated to a virtual assistant. When we talk about delegation to virtual assistants, what I mean is you go to yourteams.com or yourteams.io, or you go to Fiverr, or you go to Upwork, and you simply hire somebody on your team who's able to do this task for you. Now, it is very, very, very much, it is a lot different than you're probably imagining. There's a company called yourteams.io. This is my company, and this isn't really intended to be a promo, but this company right here outsources virtual assistants to you. Like if you go to like Fiverr, for an example, you have to find a very specific person to do your task for you. You can't leave the platform. You can't do all this. Like I personally just have a little bit of issues with Fiverr. Hence why we went out of our way to go and build this team called Your Teams, or this company called Your Teams. And Your Teams literally just gives you virtual assistants. They're $5 an hour. They only charge you for the hours actually taken on each individual tasks. Okay. So we're going to kind of break down like the number of hours saved. And the reason why I'm even mentioning this is because I don't want you to think that you're going to need to spend a ton of money to delegate all of these things that we're getting ready to talk about. So yes, we would absolutely delegate, checking your emails to virtual assistants. Now, paying for tools that you need for your company that just don't have auto renew. This is something that a VA would be able to do and simply just go ahead and delegate that. Now, doing your client's busy work. This is something that you would absolutely, honestly, you would identify it as like a maintenance task, and you would not want to do that. Okay, so this right here would be delegate, and you would push that over to a virtual assistant. Now, payroll, on the other hand, this is not something that I would ever have a virtual assistant do because I like making sure that my payroll numbers are incredibly accurate. So instead of having a virtual assistant do this, I have a real life, not a real life, they're all real life, but I have a real assistant that I work with that's on my team who is not from a foreign country. She's actually just based in Miami, and she is the one that takes care of my payroll. For the longest time, I was doing payroll myself, and it was ridiculous, and it was annoying, and I hated. It's so funny. Like, one of the most annoying parts about business for me is like collecting the money. I think because I've just collected so much money and it's this like repetitive sequence of constantly collecting money on the 1st and the 14th of every single month that it just gets annoying. And so what I did is, since payroll is ever so slightly meticulous, and we use spreadsheets and whatnot to actually like achieve this, what we've done is I have made very long communication recorded Loom-based videos, as well as had meetings with my assistant to showcase or, give her a tutorial on everything that she needs to do. Now, all of these things are recorded and stored inside of her Notion file where she can rewatch whenever she needs, and I don't need to constantly update SOPs because as soon as we get a new client or as soon as something changes based off of the videos and the discussions that we've had, she will know the actionable item after that. So yes, this is something that I would absolutely delegate because this is not going to make me $2,000 more. Okay. This is definitely a maintenance task, so this is something that I would want to delegate. Now, responding to DMs and inquiries, what I would say, it depends entirely on your own, your life in your own business. For me, there's nobody DMing me that can make this a $2,000 task, okay? There definitely maintenance involved. I mean, constantly checking. But the thing is, I don't even check my DMs. I don't have any interest in being involved in my DMs. The only time I'm ever looking at my DMs are if, somebody is like trying to be hired to our company or whatnot, because we're constantly looking for work. So realistically, this isn't a $2,000 task. It is maintenance, but it's not something that I can delegate to somebody else because I'm the big boss. At some point, I do want to delegate this and have like a full-time, management of the Instagram account. But right now, this is something that I haven't done just yet. And it's because my current business and structure and system, how everything is set up, it just doesn't make the most sense. So this is something that I would do myself. And this is also, to note, is only something I would do like maybe once a week. Now, managing your team communication, Slack, emails, calls, okay? This right here is absolutely maintenance, and this is something that I would do myself. And the reason why I would do this myself is because this right here is your team communications. You need to make sure that everybody's communicating properly. This is something that you can delegate to a in-person, assistant in some sort. But realistically, if it has to do with your team, making sure that you are involved as much as you can. Now, as your business starts to grow, you do not need to be as involved as much. What I would highly recommend is you start hiring operators. So when I talk about delegating something to the VAs, what I mean is it is a very basic task that it doesn't require somebody who's incredibly, or who even specializes in that task, okay? It's something that just anybody can do, but everybody seems to do them, and it just simply wastes time. And frankly, it's very difficult to work on your business when you're constantly working on the internals of your business. When it actually comes to team communications and whatnot, it's not maintenance really, because it's just managing your team. And I would highly recommend over time you hire operators that are more capable or specialized people in certain areas within your company, and hiring them and then delegating the tasks to them as well. Now, when it comes to creating and scheduling content, okay, just posts and whatnot, this is absolutely something that you can delegate, because this is not something that is going to make you $2,000 unless we're talking about YouTube right here. Anytime you're posting anything on YouTube, or it is for building your personal brand or something along those lines, then I would then change this to a $2,000 task. And this is something that's very important that you do. Okay. So it kind of just depends on the frame at which it is. And the reason why I'm even talking at length on this is so you fully understand, how each task can be looked at. Okay. So now, the system for this, I would absolutely use some kind of software and tools to help me schedule and post and make this a little bit easier on me. But realistically, it would just be me, myself, and some tools. Now, coming down here on this next one, reviewing performance metrics, ads, email open rates, traffic, etc. This is one I would delegate to a software and tool, because inside of Airtable, inside of HubSpot, inside of any software and tool that you can possibly imagine, there are analytics that you can look at to just do all of the tracking for you. What I do specifically is, for an example, I have a make automation that scrapes every single one of my YouTube videos, internal information as well as the external information. So the back end analytics, but then the front view analytics that everybody sees, the thumbnail, the views, etc. And what I do is I have all of that data scraped and put into an Airtable for me, so that I can actually see in real time what that data is without needing to go to individual software and tools. So I pretty much just accumulate all of the data that is running, and then I build systems and tools around it to help me analyze that data. Okay. Now, I follow up with leads or potential clients. This right here is absolutely something that you need to delegate. You would think that, honestly, this is a $2,000 task, because it can get you a lead or a client that is going to make you at least $2,000 or more. And this is absolutely true. The only thing I would say with this is something that you can easily outsource with no problems at all, especially when it comes to actual follow-ups, which right here, just having some kind of communication or recording that's just simply showing them what they need to do, so that they, whoever's doing the outreach or the follow-up or anything along those lines, they know exactly what to say. Now, managing your calendar and your upcoming meetings, this right here is something that you absolutely would delegate through some kind of software and tool. Me, for an example, I use Notion, and my assistant has access to my Notion, and she completely schedules everything on my calendar for me. Now, when it comes to troubleshooting technical failures such as site bugs, payment failures, etc., unless you have an operator on your team, this right here is not necessarily a $2,000 task, but it's a very important task when it comes to making sure that your operation is set up. So this right here just simply is a maintenance task that you're going to have to do yourself. Like I said, over time, you need to hire operators that are able to do these tasks for you. Now, when it comes to onboarding new clients or customers, this right here is a maintenance task. Maintenance. If you have already onboarded a creator before, you simply need to record some kind of onboarding process that you hand over to VA. So anytime you onboard somebody new, all you have to do is take that initial onboarding meeting and then immediately pass the information over to a VA where they're then going to onboard them for you. Now, this next one here is I approve or revise creative assets. Now, this is something that is a $2,000 task, and you need to be doing this yourself because this is under the assumption that your team has prepared graphics or videos or copy for you, and now all you need to do is approve it. Now, the next one is I update my product pages or sales funnels. This one right here, I would absolutely delegate. This is a maintenance task, so I would absolutely delegate that to some kind of VAs right here. Now, I write or outline new offers, emails, or scripts. This is something that I think is a $2,000 task because this sounds to me like a production of something new. Okay. I manage and pay contractors, freelancers. This one right here is absolutely a maintenance task. I'd be delegating through communication. And then tracking revenue expenses. I know some very, very, very successful 100 millionaires that are tracking their own revenue and expenses themselves. So I would not say this is a $2,000 task, but this is a maintenance task that you could absolutely do yourself. Okay. Now, when it comes to brainstorming new growth strategies, this right here is a $2,000 task that you need to be doing yourself alongside your team. Okay. So now kind of giving you like the inside, the mind of how I look at these operations. I want you to look at your operations in the same way. And you say, one, let's open this up. Is this task that I'm doing something that I've consistently done before? Okay, yes, which means it's maintenance, okay? Now, since it's maintenance, is this something that's continuously generating me at least $2,000 a month? Is this a task that if I continue doing is going to make me another $2,000 every single month? Or is this a task that, frankly, I could just delegate, okay? Now, if this is a task that I could just delegate, it needs to be delegated appropriately, whether it's using Airtable or Make, or it's using communication with staff or VAs. That is how you need to break down every single thing that you do. And frankly, this is one of the things that kind of fueled my level of success and how fast that I was able to achieve success. And it's because I simply just created systems to help me run the business for me, which allowed me, like at the end of that Notion, when it came to brainstorming and identifying new things to implement into my business, that was something that I could do myself. Now, imagine on that list if every single one of those things were to have been maintenance myself. A lot of you guys spend so much time on maintenance work, doing things that you've done 1.5 million times on that you could easily outsource to a virtual assistant, or that you could easily plug into Airtable or Make, etc. Let me kind of paint this picture for you, because maybe some of you guys just don't understand how important this is. If I sign a client today and she needs like these, communications, or he needs these communications, and I start communicating with him day in and day out, I still have a little bit of time to go out and do more outreach, and I sign another client. Now he or she also needs communications. By the time I'm 10 or 15 clients deep, I will be so overloaded with communications with the client that guess what? I won't even have the time to do more outreach to get more clients. Hence the importance of building the system that does the client communications for you. Thus, outsourcing or creating systems, okay? This allows you to focus on just simply bringing in more clients and furthering your company's trajectory. You see, building systems isn't always about, being a professional coder or being a computer genius. As a matter of fact, it's about taking the lazier but more productive option. Because I mean, you could go ahead and spend 4 years getting your, coding degree or your engineering degree to go and build these super advanced systems for yourself. Or you can just simply hire somebody such as a virtual assistant to do this for you. Not only does building systems allow you to run your business for you, but it also gives you more freedom. Alongside this, it also allows you to just spend more time working on your company instead of in your company, thus generating more revenue and more profit and more jobs supplied by yourself.